my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back. Your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And I think today's conversation is making you feel really, really good. Everything about health, awareness, and wellness. So let's carry on with that right now because we got vaccines next on the list, which are the cornerstone of strong, healthy communities. And I think with Pharmacy Month in full swing, there's no better time to focus on protecting ourselves and those around us. Now, in proud partnership with Adcock Ingram, OTC sponsors of Brave, we're bringing this one through to you. And a very warm welcome to community pharmacist and researcher, Dr. Oluchi Mbamalu. And she's here to give us the vaccine lowdown. Doc, how are we doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
I love your smile. It's the perfect smile that a pharmacist should have, because someone like me that comes in there sick and needs help sees that smile. I'm like, I'm already feeling better.
No, that's what we aim to do.
So thank you for bringing that along this morning. But let's talk about this. Why is staying up to date with vaccines so important in this day and age?
Right. You mentioned it in your introduction. Vaccines are one of the key ways we try to maintain healthy individuals and communities. And so there are many infectious diseases that are preventable. You have polio, for example, yellow fever, tuberculosis, and even the common flu. And vaccines can help to protect individuals from these diseases. And of course, some of these diseases can be fatal. And so actually staying up to date with vaccines and preventing infections is then a better option than trying to treat after your patient has become infected.
And potentially saves lives.
Protection saves life, and prevention is better than cure. Why would you have to get an illness first if you can prevent it?
I love that. And I think with the modern day sciences and advancements we have in this space, why suffer as well when you have that solution?
And then you stay in hospital, and then you have to pay hospital bills if you're not covered, and then you miss out on work. And if you haven't got social insurance and cover, you don't get payment for days of work lost. But we also help to build healthy communities, because somebody who's protected cannot transfer it to somebody else. And so public health, personal health and well-being.
Yeah, this makes sense. Let's say for someone that is maybe checking in on their children with regards to, are they up to date with their vaccinations? Is that something that you can do, or would you just, if I don't know, I don't know?
Yes, so the pharmacist can check on that and then advise on whether your child is up to date with vaccinations. And if they're not up to date, the pharmacist can also advise on what they need to do to get up to date. So you need to go to the pharmacy with your child's clinic record, the Road to Health book. And the pharmacist can go through that to see what your child has taken and what needs to be taken. And if there's any extras that the child requires or the child missed before, the pharmacist can also advise on that.
Brilliant. So pharmacists are there for like everything. It's not just the beautiful smile, clearly. And it's there to also fill in the gaps and things that we might have missed on, which I think is so important. So you mentioned what we need to bring with, right? If my children's friends are maybe vaccinated as well, does it make a difference or does it matter if my child maybe isn't? That's quite an interesting one, because I know there's debates on this, and I know it goes as extreme as some kids are even prevented from playing with some other kids because of the status. It's crazy.
So if your child's friends are vaccinated and your child is not, your child is still at risk of infectious diseases. Because the pathogens that cause the disease have newer strains that mutate every time, and so your child may not be protected. But then, even more important, you're relying on herd immunity from the cover that your child's friends have to protect your child. Now, herd immunity occurs when people who can vaccinate in a community, many of them vaccinate, and so they protect those who cannot vaccinate. For instance, those whose immune systems cannot allow them to vaccinate at that time, newborn babies who are not yet up to the age for the vaccine. But then what happens is that if less people vaccinate, we don't have that community-wide cover, and so you have pockets of diseases springing up again. And that child who is not vaccinated is likely going to be among the first people to pick up that infection.
Because they're the most vulnerable, the most susceptible to it.
And so anyone who can get vaccinated is advised to, not only to protect other people, but also to protect themselves.
This is making a lot of sense. And with regards to, obviously, we're speaking about children, but with adults as well, is it still important for adults to get vaccinated? I mean, my understanding is that often we build up that resilience over time, our immune system gets stronger, but are vaccines still important? And if so, which ones would you maybe advise for adults right now?
Right, so I get that a lot in the pharmacy.
Yeah, I'm strong, I'm old, I'm built it up, I don't need that.
Yes, so adults do need vaccines. Depends on what stage of their life they are at, depends on whether they're traveling, depends on where they work, what pathogens or infectious diseases they might be exposed to. For instance, your adult patient who has an injury that causes a a cut in the skin might need a tetanus vaccine to prevent from tetanus infection. And of course, there is the flu vaccine, which we advise people to take every year. For instance, your healthcare workers need to take this, not only to protect them, but also to ensure that they don't transfer an infection to a patient that they are treating. And so they protect not only themselves, but also the patient. And this is very important for people who are vulnerable, like your elderly patients who are over 60 years, pregnant women, people whose immune systems are compromised. And so by protecting themselves, they can also protect the patients that they are treating. Or for those who love to travel, you can travel to a place that's, you need maybe, for instance, depending on where you're going, yellow fever vaccine, if you're traveling to or from an endemic area.
Yeah.
And there are also many others, and your pharmacist is well positioned to advise on those.
Well, Dr. Lucy, if our pharmacist is anything to go by, and if you're an example of it, then I'm sold. I'm here for it. I'm heading to the pharmacy right now.
Thank you.
And I'm very grateful for you to be here this morning. Thank you for educating us. You were absolutely flawless today with everything that we needed to hear. So I think with that being said, your work here is done.
Thank you.
I think the Mzansi Pharmacy Month is obviously in full swing. So let's keep the celebration going. And I think we can recognize the amazing pharmacists, just like the one on the couch right now, who work tirelessly to keep us healthy. Here's to you. Thank you.
September is Pharmacy Month. In proud association with Adcock Ingram, OTC sponsors of Brave, inspiring communities one pharmacy at a time.